Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. This is Tariq. Today our topic is multiplier. What is multiplier? Multiplier is the ratio of change in aggregate output because of the change in any exogenous, in bracket I put the meanings of exogenous, independent variable. What are those variables? Like investment magnitude, I stands for investment, government spending, G stands for government spending, tax rate, T stands for tax rate. Aggregate output will change multiple times. Multiple times mean many times if independent variable change one time. It means that multiplier define the change in aggregate output because of the change in any one of the following mentioned macroeconomic variables like investment, like government spending, like tax rate. So when one time investment or government spending or tax rate change, as a result aggregate output of the economy will change many times. Multiple times mean many times, and that is why this is called multiplier. Multiple times change in output because of one time change in any independent, any exogenous macroeconomic variables, as I mentioned. Macroeconomic variables that use as independent given, like investment, like government spending, like taxes. Now, how this is possible? Multiplier process, as I told you, as this is mentioned in the slides, that output will change multiple times if one time investment or G or taxes change. How this is possible? What is multiplier process? What is the process that output will change twice, thrice, or four times, or five times if one time investment change? How this is possible? What is that process? We are learning that if the government increase $1 investment, so how output will change two times, three times, four times, yeah, 10 times, mean $10. If investment increased by the government by $1, so how aggregate output will change by $10? We are learning this as a multiplier process. Multiplier process. If government want to stimulate means increase economic growth. Like, what is that economic growth? Like increase aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate investment magnitude, aggregate consumption, general price level, aggregate employment level, or government want to decrease aggregate consumption, etc., etc. Government can do this using fiscal or monetary policy or direct control. So as government increase government spending or decrease tax rate or increase money supply, aggregate demand for the labor, for the capital, for the raw material will increase. As a result, jobs will increase. Per capita income of Afghanistan will rise. Aggregate consumption will rise. Again, aggregate demand will, look, when per capita income increase, it's mean we are household. When we are earning more, so definitely we have studied consumption function, we will consume more. So when the earning increase by applying policies, consumption will also further increase. And consumption will again increase in the second round because the people are earning, they have jobs. So again aggregate demand will increase in the second round more. Again when demand increase, economy will increase output to match aggregate demand. So again demand for labor capital will increase and employment level will further increase and GDP will also further increase. So when independent variable change one time, aggregate output will change multiple times. Let me repeat this multiplier process again. Simply this means that if the government is entrusted to increase economic growth, means what is growth? Increase aggregate demand, aggregate output, aggregate employment level, aggregate per capita income, consumption, saving, investment magnitude. The government is entrusted to increase. So the government can use any one power. As I told you that government carry two major power, fiscal policy and monetary policy. So when the government apply any one policy and want to increase economic growth, so suppose government increase government spending, spend $1 billion. So when government spending increase, spend $1 billion on the welfare of the public, demand for labor and capital will increase. When demand for labor, capital, raw material, goods and services increase, so jobs will increase. Employment level of the Afghanistan will increase. When employment level increase, it means everyone is earning. We are household. When we are earning and we are household, so we study consumption function that as your income increase, your consumption will also increase. And in here we find the jobs. Everyone have a job. Everyone is earning. So automatically we will consume more. When we are consuming more, we are further demanding. Further aggregate demand is increasing. When further aggregate demand increase, economy will try their level best to increase more output. To increase more output, again government will invest more. Demand for labor, for capital will further increase. Further jobs will increase. Further employment level will increase. In the second round, again our income, per capita income will increase. Again consumption will increase. This process will continue. And we will take economy from lower GDP to the upper GDP. That is why we are saying if one time macroeconomic independent variable change like investment, like government spending, like taxes, so multiple times GDP will change. This is called multiplier process. Now we are mathematically showing these multipliers one by one. So this topic is mathematical notation of the investment multiplier. Means, as I told you theoretically, that when government increase government spending or decrease taxes or increase investment magnitude, so demand for labor will increase, jobs will increase. When jobs increase, per capita income, earning will increase. When earning increase, consumption will increase. When consumption increase in the second round, again aggregate demand will increase. Again economy will try to produce more. Further employment level, jobs will increase. Further income increase. Further demand increase. This process will continue and output will change multiple times because of one time change in government spending or taxes or investment. This theoretical process I am showing mathematically. That is why I write mathematical notation of the investment multiplier. It means from this mathematical notation we have the independent variable investment in here. In this case, investment multiplier means the independent exogenous variable, that is investment. How we can calculate multiplier size? So I write here the formulation for this multiplier, investment multiplier equation that will tell us multiplier size. Delta y over divided by delta I is equal to 1 divided by, this is sign of division, is equal to delta y divided by delta I is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. So MPC we have studied in the previous lectures. Marginal propensity to consume, rate of consumption, the ratio at which Afghans people are consuming. Out of $1, how much you are consuming, how much you are saving. Whatever you are consuming out of $1, that is called MPC. We discussed this. Now I am using this terminology to calculate that if government increase investment by $1, so how many times GDP of Afghanistan will change. This is the multiplier equation and we call that investment multiplier. Change in y, delta for change. How much output will change if the investment change. This is delta I. Delta I represent change in investment and delta y represent change in output. So delta y divided by delta I, this statement tells us that how many times this delta y will change. If this investment one times change, the formulation is this, is equal to 1 over or 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. Now I am putting one example. If MPC is this much, 0.75, What does this mean? This means out of $1 increase in income, Afghans consume $0.75. It means 75% every Afghan is consuming, and remaining 25% every Afghan is saving. So this is MPC 75%. This delta I represent change in investment. Suppose investment change increased by $25 million. So the question is this: find delta Y divided by delta I, yani calculate multiplier size, that how many times Y output will change if one time investment change. We will calculate this using this formulation. And second part of the question, calculate how much aggregate output will change. Put these values in the formula. This is the formula I am putting. Delta Y over delta I is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus, and MPC is given. Put in here 0.75. So delta Y over delta I is equal to 1 over mean 1 divided by 1 minus 75% is equal to 25%, 0.25. And when we divide 1 divided by 0.25, we will get 4. You can do this, students, using calculator. I feed the formulation, I feed the value. You have to just do it. Just put the values in the formula, use calculator, and this delta Y over delta I, this delta Y over delta I will give you 4. And now interpretation of this statement. I am interpreting that if investment change by $1, aggregate output will change by $4. It means if the government of Afghanistan is increasing investment by $1, so output of the Afghanistan, GDP of the Afghanistan as a result will change 4 times by $4. So this was the investment multiplier size that we calculate. And second part of the question is this: compute change in Y. That when government increase investment by $25 million, so you have to calculate how much GDP will change. Again, we are using this formula. From this formulation of the multiplier size, we can find out change in Y. How? We will multiply both sides of this equation by delta I. So from the left hand side, delta I will cancel out and it will transfer to the other side in numerator, not in denominator. It will come close to 1, yani above the fraction bar, not below the fraction bar. So delta I will transfer from the left hand side to the right hand side, as I write in here. Delta Y is equal to delta I. This is a sign of multiplication. Sign of multiplication. So we change this delta I to the right hand side, and now this is delta I multiplied by 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. Now we calculate this size, 1 over 1 minus MPC. You people calculate, this is 4. I substitute in here, and delta I, investment increased by $25 million. This is given to you. Delta I represent $25 million increase in investment. I put the values 25 from here in here, and I put this 1 over 1 minus MPC 4 in here. So 25 multiplied by 4, output of the Afghanistan increased by $100 billion, and 100 is the 4 times of 4. Investment change by 100 is the 4 times of 25. Investment increased by $25 million, and as a result GDP of Afghanistan increased by $100 billion. This is interpretation that as investment changed by $25 million, aggregate output will change by $100 million, which is 4 times of the investment. So it's mean investment multiplier. We mathematically show that if the government of Afghanistan is a changing investment magnitude by $1, as a result GDP of Afghanistan will change by $4. And here investment magnitude is given, that is $25 million. So if investment increased by $25 million, GDP will change by $100 million, and this means that economy is growing. output is increasing from one lower level to the other upper level, and when national income of Afghanistan increase, so it's mean aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate consumption, aggregate investment, general price level, interest rate, saving, consumption, all macroeconomic variables are increasing and unemployment is decreasing. So this was all about the investment multiplier, that how we can calculate change in Y because of change in I. Now we are discussing multiplier size depends on the size of the MPC. Size of the multiplier depends on the size of MPC. As MPC increase, multiplier size will increase, because as MPC increase, aggregate consumption will increase and aggregate demand will also increase. So when demand is more, definitely economy will increase output and vice versa. Okay, this means that size of the multiplier depends on size of the MPC, as I wrote in this slides, that size of MPC depends on size of multiplier depends on size of MPC. This means that when MPC is increasing, marginal propensity to consume is more. When the people rate of consumption is high, so when people are consuming more, it's mean they are demanding more. When they will demand more, economy will try to produce more. So this is very clear that if marginal propensity to consume is increasing, aggregate output of the Afghanistan will increase, because MPC is consumption and consumption is the part of aggregate demand. When people are consuming more, it's mean they are demanding more. So size of the multiplier depends on size of MPC. If MPC increase, output will increase, size of the multiplier will increase, but vice versa means this vice versa. What does this mean? This means that if MPC decrease, the people are not consuming more, they are saving more. So when MPC increase, consumption, aggregate consumption is decreasing. And when aggregate consumption decrease, it means aggregate demand of the Afghans is decreasing. So when the people are not demanding, producer will stop production, they will curtail, they will reduce production, they will fight out the labor, fight out the capital. So income level will start to fall. So when income level, jobs decrease, demand decrease, so automatically aggregate output, GDP of Afghanistan will fall. And we prove this mathematically. For example, if MPC is a 0.90, in the previous example MPC was 0.75, that was 75%, and now this is 90%, 0.90 MPC. It's mean marginal propensity to consume increase. Marginal propensity of consumption of Afghans increased from 75% to 90%. Delta I is same $25 million. Again, the question is this: calculate delta Y or delta I and calculate change in Y. Put the values in the formula with new MPC. MPC rise from $0.75 to $0.90. It's mean out of $1, 90 pesos, $0.90 people are consuming, $1 people are saving. So multiplier size is this: delta Y over delta I. This is the formulation: 1 over 1 minus MPC. We put the values. 1 over 1 minus MPC is 90%, 0.90. So 1 minus 0.90 is equal to 0.10, and 1 divided by 0.10 is equal to 10. So when MPC were $0.75, 75%, at that time multiplier size we calculate $4. But when the size of MPC rise from 75%, from $0.75 to 90%, $0.90, so size of the multiplier also increase, that is 10. I am again repeating multiplier size formulation. Calculate change in Y. Delta Y means change in Y because of the change in I. I change mean increase or decrease in investment. Y change mean increase or decrease in aggregate output produced by Afghanistan. So delta Y over delta I is equal to 1 over 1 minus MPC. Now I'm putting the value of MPC. 1 minus 0.90 divided by 0.10 and 1 divided by 0.10 is equal to 10. Interpretation mean if investment change by $1, output will change by $10, mean 10 times. Now again we can find delta y. So delta y is equal to delta I multiplied. This is sign of multiplication. I am again and again repeating, this is sign of multiplication. Delta I multiplied by 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. Delta I multiplied by 1 over 1 minus 0.90 because MPC is 0.90. So 1 minus 0.90, 0.10, 1 divided by 0.10, 10, and increase in investment magnitude, that is $25 million. 25 multiplied by 10 is equal to $250 million. Interpretation is investment change by $25 million. Aggregate output will change by $250 million, which is 10 times of the multiplier size. Which is 10 times of the investment size. Investment is 25, output is 250. So this 250 is a 10 times of the initial investment that government did. So this was all about the multiplier size. That multiplier size depends on size of MPC. Now we are proceeding toward the chapter number 4, that is government and fiscal policy. Let me introduce government and fiscal policy in this section. What we will learn in this section, I am going to include government to the economy. Till now we study only two sectors economy, household and investor. There were two components of aggregate demand, C plus I. C, demand of the household, represent aggregate consumption, total consumption, and I, that is aggregate investment, demand of the investors. In here I'm including third sector. That is why this economy is called three sectors economy, and I am involving government into the economy. So the role of government, you all know that is very important. Government has the power to keep economic fluctuations smooth. Economic fluctuations mean ups and downs in the economy. Government can control. Taliban, government can control. All types of issues, government is responsible for that. So it's mean government involvement is very important. Government use fiscal policy, monetary policy, direct control to solve the problems of the society, to manage all types of issues, employment level, unemployment level, inflation, deflation, political instability, war, shortage, every issues. Government is responsible for that. You can say to keep the quality and standards of each and everything, all goods and services. So means government actually keep the closed check and balance on the society, and government role is very important for us to take care of all the issues of the society, of the people, of the state. So government involvement is very important. Government involvement is important to control economic fluctuations using fiscal and monetary policies. Government makes sure the quality and standard of all goods and services, make sure peace, security, infrastructure. Government provide us education, health, transportation, communication facilities, international trade. Government help us making good relations. Government help us to stop any aggression on our society. Government has a strong role in that area, defense side. So government involvement is very important. When we involve the government to the society, then we have to pay taxes to the state also. Public has to pay taxes to the government. I write here, national income is now disposable income. YD mean disposable income after paying all types of taxes to the government. It means now government be involved, public has to pay taxes. That is why income will be disposable income, because some part of the income goes to the state. And how we can write mathematically that disposable income? YD represent disposable income, income after paying all types of taxes. So disposable income is equal to national income Y represent aggregate output, national income minus taxes. When we subtract all types of taxes from the national income, the remaining national income, that is called disposable income. Again, I am telling you that when we include government into the economy, this is three sectors economy, aggregate demand now carry three components. In the two sector economy, there were only two components, C and I. But when we include government, now aggregate expenditure or aggregate demand carry three components. This AE represent aggregate expenditure and aggregate demand carry same meanings. Same meanings in the sense aggregate expenditures mean whatever we are demanding, so it's mean we are spending for that, we are paying money for that. So that is why we can say aggregate demand or aggregate expenditure, and it carry three components, C plus I plus G. C means aggregate consumption of the household. I'm again repeating, household mean common people. We all are household. I represent investors' demand for labor, capital and raw materials, security, good relations. And G represent government spending, yani demand of the government for different goods and services. Government also spend $1 billion on the public, government employees, on the defense, on the agriculture. In our country, Afghanistan, thousands of organizations are governmental organizations, and government pay $1 million salaries to the government employees, support the economy. So it's mean G represent all the government spending, all the government expenditures on the country, on the society. So economy carry aggregate demand carry three components, C plus I plus G, as I write here, where C is for A-double-G mean aggregate. A-double-G mean aggregate. C represent aggregate consumption. I represent for aggregate investment. I is used for aggregate investment, and G for aggregate government, and this is spending. So C for consumption, I for aggregate investment, and G for aggregate government spending. Now let me shortly define what is budget. Budget is the huge documentation of the government about the collection of tax revenues, as well as where this revenue government will reallocate, information about the inflation rate, tax rates, from where the revenue will come and where it will goes, about the future plannings. It's mean budget is simply a huge thousands pages documentation of the state, in which the government make plannings for the future as well as planning for the current economic condition to make it better and best. Means changes. Shall the government increase the salaries, decrease the salaries, increase the tax rate, decrease the tax rate, increase the wage rate, decrease the wage rate, etc., etc. And this is a government planning for the future, that how much revenue the government will collect from each sector, and where this revenue the government will reallocate. From agriculture sector, how much the government should collect revenue, from industrial, from education, from health, from business. In government planning, that how much we have to collect and how much we have to reallocate, respend on the welfare of the state, on the welfare of the public. This thousands pages planning, that is called budget of the government. Now budget is formulation is this: G for government spending and T for tax revenue. So G minus taxes. Budget surplus when the government spendings are less than tax revenues. In mean government expenditures are less and tax revenue is more. So this is surplus budget. Government has the revenue but government is not spending. And as we put in the formula, budget surplus G minus T. G is 1000, suppose T is 2000. So $2,000 million is more than $1,000 million. It means government earning is $2,000 million and government spending on the society is $1,000 million. So $1,000 million still the government has in the budget. So budget surplus is here minus 1000. This negative sign means this is absolute value, that we have surplus $1,000 million that does not consume according to the budget. Budget deficit, when government spendings are more than tax revenue. Tax that government collect from the public, that is less, but expenditures on the public of the government, that is more. In this situation, budget is in deficit, mean in loss. Government cannot fulfill the budget to finance all the governmental expenditures for the society. G is suppose $2,000 million, yani expenditures are $2,000 million, and tax revenue is how much? That is only $1,000 million. So budget deficit 2,000 minus 1,000, that is actually $1,000 million is the deficit with the state. Government has to finance this deficit, taking loan from the other nations, countries, or you can say taking loan from the IMF, Institute of Monetary Fund, or taking loan from the World Bank. But in the deficit case, government will finance taking loan, and that the government has to pay back with interest. So it's mean this is not a good position of the economy when the budget is in deficit, when the revenue is less and government spending are more. Thank you.